You know, I'm just looking for a woman who accepts me and these cars. And also has the brains of a rocket scientist, looks like Scarlett Johansson, spits in my mouth, and then while I'm wearing a diaper, carries me around like a fictional Amazon woman. I'm not looking for that much. I'm not that picky. God bless America. 1970 AMC AMX. And can you believe that AMC has been defunct since 1988? I mean, most of you probably weren't even born yet. Just kidding. Average age of my viewers is like 90. So why don't you tell me what it was like on the Oregon Trail again, Grandpa? But AMC came out with some bangers during the muscle car era. I mean, you had the Hearst SC Rambler, Rebel Machine, Hornet SC 360, heck, even the 71 Matador machine. I mean, if you like a pig with a little bit of lipstick, which, guilty. And then you had this, the AMX, which was available as its own model from 1968 to 1970. After that, it was kind of options package on other cars, and just, we're going to ignore that for now. And I'd have to say that the 1970 AMX is definitely my favorite year. I mean, just look at this car. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the previous years were fine, but to me they kind of looked like Rami Malek after he accidentally dropped a loaf in his pants. But this car didn't just look good, it performed. Just like your mom. And in the previous years, you had a few different engines available. A 290, a 343, and a 390. For 1970, you only had a 360 or the 390. And of course, this one's a 390. But interestingly, all of those engines had the same block size. But when you got the 390, now you're upgraded to a forged crank and rods and also larger rod bearings. Not to mention, this car has something called the Go Package. And what exactly is in the Go Package? Well, I'm glad that you asked. But before I explain that, come on you guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100,000 and we're not gonna quit until it happens. But how will I ever repay you for that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I could give you a foot massage. I'm just kidding. I'm obviously not going to give any of you foot massages with my magic little carny hands. It had power front disc brakes, twin grip differential, heavy duty cooling, heavy duty suspension, E7014 tires, and Ram Air with a power blister hood. And when you pair that with the 390 that had a compression ratio 10.2 to 1, this thing was rated 325 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. Man, that just makes me want to drive one of these cars so bad. But I've heard with the short wheelbase and that power that these things can get a little squirrely, but you know what? They don't call me Mr. Nut for nothing. And I get it, that power might not seem like a lot, at least in comparison to some of the other muscle cars of the era, but keep in mind, this car is light. It doesn't even have rear seats. Oh, and I should point out, this thing's a 4-speed manual. That is absolutely awesome. Not to mention it's paired up with a set of 373 rear gears. But back to the rear seats, there's none. It's great for weight savings. I mean, obviously not so good for other activities, but great for weight savings. And this car specifically with the driver sitting in it was only 3,414 pounds. And speaking of no rear seats, this thing is a bona fide sports car. Oh, to the one woman watching, can you just mute it for a second? I need to make a joke. Bona fide? More like boner fide, am I right, my guys? Oh my god, just guys being dudes. Okay, you can unmute now. And being that this thing is a bona fide sports car, it could be seen as a competitor to the Corvette. But here's the numbers. A base hardtop Corvette in 1970 started out at $5,200. If you wanted any little performance, and let's say you upgrade to the LT1, that's another $500. This AMX, on the other hand, with a 390 in the Go Pack, you were picking up for less than $3,900. So almost $2,000 cheaper than the Corvette. And if you adjust for inflation, that would be under $32,000 today. And how about we compare performance? Car Life tested an LT1 Corvette with a 4-speed and 411 gears in 1970. It ran the quarter mile in 14.17 at 102 miles per hour. And then Motor Trend tested an AMX with a 390, 4-speed, and 354 gears, and that ran the quarter in 1468 at 92 miles per hour. Keep in mind, that was with 354 gears. So if you throw in some decent gears, this thing is gonna haul the mail, deliver the milk, bring home the bacon, and also give your wife that spicy kielbasa. So sorry, Corvette, you can take your jorts and shove it. I'm going with the American Motors Corporation. But even with that, this car didn't really sell all that well. In 1970, there were only 4,116 total. That includes the cars with both the 360 and the 390. 1968 Pontiac Firebird. And I've always seen the 68 Firebirds as kind of following the girl next door trope. I mean, obviously, we're heading down a Cars and Zebras metaphor tangent, so just dig a foxhole and settle in. Okay, so the 68 Firebird, it's like the girl next door. At first, you might not pay attention to a car like this, but as you become more worldly and mature, and you start looking at things as a complete package and not just a singular item, you might say, dang, that thing's in pretty good shape and it's attractive. And you know what? It's not too flashy, and that's a good thing, because sometimes flashy means an empty bank account and herpes. And you know what might happen the first time you look under the hood of this car? Shoot, you might poop a little bit. And then Pontiac's gonna lean in and whisper in your ear, it's okay, we all poop. And that is the spirit of America. And why Pontiac's never gonna die, baby. What exactly do you see when you look under the hood? Well, that's a Ram Air 2. What does that mean? Round port heads, aggressive cams, stiffer valve springs, a modified distributor curve, and of course Ram Air, all feeding into a 400 cube V8. With a compression ratio of 10.75 to 1 in the Firebird, Pontiac said this was 340 horsepower, 435 pound-feet of torque. Interestingly, there was a restrictor tab on the throttle linkage, so the secondaries could only open 90%, limiting power. You just remove that tab, you gain the remaining 10% on your secondaries, and you just got another 20 to 30 horsepower. For instance, the same engine in the GTO was rated 366 horsepower, 445 pound-feet of torque. And I have to say that this is one of my favorite interiors of the entire muscle car era. It's simple, yet it's still elegant, I mean, at least for a muscle car. Not to mention all the original road tests said that this was the best interior of any of the competitors in this segment. And as you probably already noticed, this car has a 3-speed automatic. Out back, it's got 411 gears, and sure, the AMX has a weight advantage, but not by that much. This car with driver was only 3,562 pounds. Pontiac Firebirds were fairly affordable in 1968, but when you threw in that Ram Air 2, well, then it started to get a little more expensive. The base Firebird started out at $2,781. Ram Air 2, that was $631. Safety track rear is $63, and then that automatic transmission, about $200. That gives you a total of $3,675. And adjusting for inflation, this one's actually slightly more expensive than the AMX at $33,547. And with that, Pontiac did not make very many of these Ram Air 2 Firebirds. In 1968, there were only 110. You want to guess how many came with an automatic transmission? 12. This car is just one of 12, which is just crazy that they didn't sell more of these things. I mean, look at this car. It is absolutely gorgeous. That's my favorite color from Pontiac in 1968, and dare I say, this is my favorite Firebird of all time. And it's even crazier thinking that these didn't sell, especially when High Performance Cars magazine tested one of them that had a Ram Air 1, which, similar enough, it was rated 5 less horsepower, but for these purposes, it's fine. And it ran 1383 at 103 miles per hour. Let's see what it'll run today. Actually, before we do that, make sure you check out the description. I'm gonna try to put a link to the owner of this car's YouTube channel, Vintage Hot Rods. Come on, you guys, let's get him a couple thousand more subscribers.
All right, Joe P out of Tecumseh, Michigan, 768. Red lighting, so the wind will go to the AMC. Red lighting, so the wind will go to the AMC. 12-7.
In the first round, the Firebird got a red light, giving the automatic win to the AMX, who ran a blistering 12.78 at 109 miles per hour. Let's see what happens in round 2.
68 Firebird 400 automatic. Up against Joe P out of Tecumseh, Michigan, 70 AMC AMX 390 Go Pack 4-speed car. Close race, and the wind does go to Go Pack 12. Doug goes to the go pack.
And once again, it's the AMX that takes home the win, running 1286 at 109 miles per hour. And with that, the AMC wins the best of 3 title, but you know what? Both of these owners rock, and they decide to run that third round anyway, so let's check it out.
Oh, there it is.
1970. Strike 1290 at 109 for the AMX. Strike 1290.
Man, what a great race to finish the series, and once again, it's the AMC that takes home the win. A huge thanks to the owners for bringing out these cars. They are absolutely gorgeous. Remember guys, we're on that road to 100,000 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and of course I'll see you at the next one.